Hey guys, this is Rod at the Dragon Winged Inn, back with another battle report. This time we've got something a little different. We did our OP7 kit. The store got its OP7 kit in today, so we did a little tournament. It's just me and Jay and Jeremy at the moment, so pretty small tournament. But I managed to get the first two games we're going to play on camera. And so once I get that third game next week, we'll have the whole little tournament on camera. So what it is, if you don't know, it's the month 7 organized play event is called Orb of Devastation, and it's this little scenario where there's some sort of magic orb in the center of the playing field. You're playing to try to defeat the other army, but also this orb um, is sort of a little time bomb that gets bigger and bigger as creatures take damage when they're near it, and then if it takes enough damage, there's a chance it'll explode and do a bunch of damage to everything around it. Um, but the thing is that at the end of the game, if you're the winner, if the orb hasn't exploded and you've got a guy next to it, you get extra points towards your total point total for the tournament. So there's an interesting kind of risk reward thing going on there, and so I thought it'd be interesting to go ahead and film those games and just see how it goes, see what we can learn. The first game I played against Jeremy, so he hasn't gotten. Well, I think I got him on camera during that 1.5 incomplete game, but this is the first time I've actually gotten a complete game with Jeremy on the channel. He's a really good player, goes up to Austin a lot and plays in tournaments up there, so he's probably the most, I would say, in fact, definitely the most experienced player of all of us in terms of sheer mileage. So it's always instructive to watch his games or to play against him. Another thing about the OP7 scenario is that troops get a little bonus. Their upgrades are slightly cheaper, and all troops get an extra defense die. So Jeremy took that completely to heart in his list and built a list with both the Sun Elf troops and the Aarakocra troops. So that's going to be interesting to see how a troop heavy list does. I didn't build any troops. The only troops I have are the hobgoblins, and I couldn't quite bring myself to get excited about putting them on the table. But now that I've seen troops in action, maybe I'll take another look at them. For playing in the OP7 event, you got these participation prize cards that only troops can use, and they give troops some added bonuses and some added potential. So maybe I'll dig into those, and maybe you'll see a few more troops being played on this channel in the future. But for now, let's go ahead and get into this game, and we'll take a look at the lists, starting with mine here. So I've got mostly pretty familiar stuff here. I started out with Seavart, the ancient brass dragon. He's been a favorite. He's got his flame breath and sleep breath. Both of those we've used on the channel before. He's got a new upgrade, Shrewd, which came with the adult brass dragon expansion pack. And Shrewd lets him, after dials are set during the dial phase, lets him peek at an enemy creature's dial. You can discard Shrewd to look at an enemy creature's dial, and then if you want, you can change Sievert's dial. So I thought that would be pretty interesting. It can only be equipped by brass dragons. It's probably ultimately a little more useful on the adult brass dragon who has a more versatile dial, a more maneuverable dial because he's smaller. Ancient dragons don't have a lot of ability to whip around on a dime, but it could be handy in the right situation. I've also got legendary resistance, a standard defensive, flip a crit face down or discard an effect token from your creature, and then mirror image for more defense. just defending against damage, and also the mirror image can get rid of crits as well. Um, Next we've got Pocketus, the adult gold dragon. He's got fire breath. He's got searing flames, which lets him do an extra damage if he damages with his fire breath. Close quarters to make him a close range attacker. He's got the classic claw bite potential. Dimension door to teleport across the map or wherever on the map he wants. My initial thought in building that was that might be handy if I saw the orb was about to blow up and I needed to get at least one creature out of there to keep something on the table. And of course, it's just generally handy for positioning and making strong plays, flanking creatures, and so on. And also, I gave him, since he has a divine spell, I gave him Branding Smite, which we saw last week on the Solar Angel, and I really liked how it worked with him, despite one unlucky roll. And I wanted to give it another try, especially on Pocketus. He's got close quarters. That Branding Smite is going to trigger on all of those melee attacks, and it could be very powerful against an opponent who is relying on defense dice, because of course Branding Smite prevents you from rolling more than 2 defense dice. Next I've got Ontharr Froom, the Paladin. It's a pretty standard build with his challenge to bring dragons down to his level where he can poke at them with his adamantine lance, penetrating damage. Sacred Plate Mail, 2 armor, and the ability to convert a crit to a hit, and Command, a control spell to take control of an enemy's maneuver dial for a turn. Pretty typical Ontharr build. He's sort of the weak link. I mean, he just doesn't put out as much damage as these other creatures, but he really is sort of his point value just kind of slotted into what I had available pretty conveniently. I don't know. I could have thought about him a little more. And finally, the Dwarven Ballista, which I did want to get in there. It's got Dwarven Precision standard, and it's also got Skilled Machinist, which gives it the ability to use its action to heal a little bit of damage. Now, I'm normally reluctant to take Skilled Machinist because it seems like the Dwarven Ballista usually gets taken out in one turn, and thus the upgrade turns out to not be useful. Spoiler alert, the Ballista got taken out in one turn. So there you go. In retrospect, I wish I had taken Focused instead. That would let it turn around when a creature flies over it, which could be handy. Maybe something to think about next time. I mean, the Ballista is going to continue to be a staple in my list and in everyone's list, so probably worth looking into at one point. But that's pretty much it for my list. Let's go on to Jeremy. And here we've got Jeremy's list. We've got some old standards and some new stuff. First we've got Balagos, the adult red dragon with fire breath and legendary resistance. You saw those both in my list. He's also got Evil Sorcerer, giving him an extra arcane slot. And for that, he's using that for Dimension Door and Mirror Image, both of which also in my list. They must be good. Evil Sorcerer is a good choice with these 2 spells, actually, because you could theoretically do them both in one round. You could Mirror Image and attack in the same round with a target token. You can do all sorts of things. It's a nice build. He's got the Dwarven Ballista with Artillery Master. Can reroll target tokens. We've discussed that on on games before. I like Dwarven Precision, and Jay and Jeremy prefer Artillery Master. It's a matter of styles, I guess. Next, we've got the Akka Elite Squadron, which are, of course, the Aarakocra, Birdmen troops. We have seen these. Jay played them in Game 2. This is a different build. He's got a Arokwa, the leader upgrade, who gives them range 4 with their weapons instead of range 3, and lets them make a ranged attack after they spend a charge token, so gives them a little extra range with their javelins or whatever it is. Of course, as a leader upgrade, when the troop takes damage, there's a chance that he could get killed and have to be discarded. They've got Vigilant Watcher, which lets them take a target token even when there's no enemy at range 4. And when they spend a target token, they can convert a blank to a hit before they re-roll any dice. So that gives them a better output. Disperse is a defensive upgrade, which lets them roll extra dice versus 3 extra defense dice versus area effect weapons, or they can discard it to stop a creature from attacking them more than once in a round if they get attacked by a close quarters dragon or whatever. And Summon Air Elemental lets them put this little Air Elemental token on the board, which is a creature that can attack and do penetrating damage for 2 turns. It can attack twice each turn and hits at range 3, so it can be a very powerful additional attacking force on the battlefield. And finally, we've got the Harper Legion Elves, the Sun Elf troops. They've got their leader, Limnan, who lets them, he gives them an extra agility, and you can disable him when you take damage to pull your damage from the bottom of your stack of troop tokens instead of the top. That means that they get to keep that top troop token with like 5 dice or maybe even 6 dice. I can't remember. I think it's 5 dice of attack on them, so they don't lose their attacking force as they get killed if you choose to do that with Limnan. They've also got Reassemble, which is a really interesting defensive upgrade. You can discard it when an enemy creature does an action to choose to immediately choose a new point soldier and reform your troops around him. So that can potentially be a get out of jail free card if an enemy moves into attacking position. You've got, depending on how you've lined your guys up, you've got quite a lot of liberty to just get out of the way of whatever's coming at you. Elven Accuracy is an upgrade you can disable to make your damage penetrating, and Shield is a defensive spell that gives you +2 defense dice against ranged attacks and makes you immune to magic missile, should that come up. With those +2 dice with Shield up, these elves have 5 defense dice versus ranged attacks potentially, and that is a really survivable build for elves. That actually caught me off guard for a little bit and made me really take a second look at these elves. I may have to pick some up, but for now, let's go ahead and play the game. Alright, let's look at the game. Got my ballista. It's going to move forward a little bit. Just move forward 1. He deployed, most of his guys deployed before me, and he set up on one side of the board. I set up on the other, sort of expecting to hopefully try to hit his elves and maybe his dragon before the Aarakocra could really get into the fight, since they're all the way in the corner. We'll see how that works. His ballista moved forward to did a little curve to the right to engage my forces, and took an exhaustion token. And he's going to move the rest of his guys now. He's got level 8, level 8, level 9, and then I've got level 10, level 10, level 12, level 10, level 12, level 12. Sorry. So here comes the Aarakocra. We'll cut a little bit just to get to where they're lined up. Take some fiddling. For their action, they're going to summon an air elemental. And he spent some time messing with the placement, try to get it right. But as we'll see here, it ends up about halfway out of range 3. So it's an illegal placement. So like a burst token, he just has to take it off the board. Looked like a good break for me. Not having to deal with that air elemental, which is getting penetrating damage attacks every turn that it's out, for basically 2 turns in a row. He's going to go ahead and do Balagos next here in a sec. And after that little cut, you can see he basically just Dimension Doored. He didn't actually do the move. I don't know what it was, but he flipped Dimension Door to pop Balagos behind my ballista. Pretty popular strong arm tactic in these part of the woods. I'm sure other people like it too. We're going to get exhaustion token on Balagos there and a do not attack it token in just a sec. He's moving his elves. Alright, so here come the elves. We'll remember those tokens on Balagos in a little bit. And again, we'll skip some noodling with the formation there. The elves end up in this sort of long L. And it looks like they took a dodge. Now I'll be moving the rest of my guys. Paladin did this curve to the side there. That's going to prove to have not been a great choice. It would have been better off if I had just gone forward, I think. There's the tokens on Balagos. My ballista has a concentrate, incidentally. Not that it's doing anything for me at this range. Not really relevant. Concentrate on the paladin too, just because. Seavart came forward a little conservatively. Wasn't sure if he was gonna come out fast or slow. Him dimension dooring with Balagos complicates the situation considerably for me, so I have to make some decisions about that. Mirror image on Seavart. And Pocketus is going forward a little faster, but still pretty slow. In retrospect, I think I would have had a few more options if Pocketus had been on the M side in this situation. Usually, Pocketus can do a hard 3 as a white maneuver, so he could more easily come around to face Balagos if I wanted him to do that next turn. Of course, I'm thinking there's Branding Smite on the Gold Dragon. I'm thinking that I'm going to get a chance to engage with the elves and do close quarters with them next turn, and so that Branding Smite is going to help me both get more dice and prevent them from using their substantial defensive dice bonuses against me. Now we're going to measure for an attack, but nothing there. It was well out of range 4. So we'll move into round 2. Jeremy's moving his ballista forward, clearing that exhaustion, and going to take leave it concentrate. Yep. We've put this little white cube here as a damage token or whatever on the Orb of Devastation. My ballista is backing up, fell out of his little socket there. He's a little loose in there. I don't know if you find that with your ballista. Take an exhaustion token. I backed up, of course, hoping that the red dragon would end up flying in front of me and being in my sights. And we're going to do, we'll leave the Aarakocra next. Yeah, they're just going to putt forward a little bit. Not going too fast at all. And once more cut to their final position. Got a target token, I believe. They have an upgrade called Vigilant Watcher that lets them target from farther than when they're out of range 4 of any enemy. So that's pretty handy for them. And here's the issue with the Paladin. Red Dragon is going to bump my Paladin, so obviously he's not going to fly over. He's just going to back up and stay where he's out of range of that ballista. And if my Paladin had just gone forward instead of turning, he would have been compelled to fly through and be in my ballista's sight. Of course, he would have had tail whip on the ballista. Now he's just got just pretty much do whatever he wants over there. Swooping and a target token for Balagos, and we'll do the elves. I'm going to come over here to engage my dragons. And Jeremy's going to put for their action, he's going to cast Shield. So they've got that shield effect going. I don't think he had the effect token handy, so you just have to remember that. I prefer to have the effect tokens out, especially for, filming the games, just to try to make sure everything's all annotated and as it should be. Of course, we still make mistakes anyway, so maybe it doesn't matter. Paladin's coming over to face the red dragon, and he's going to take a concentrate token. He could stab the dragon, or he could cast command on the dragon. I mean, at the moment, I'm thinking almost certainly command, just to try to handle this guy a little. And Sievart sort of zoomed forward. It's gonna end up landing right close to these elves, pretty close to every enemy in there. And for his action, he's gonna go ahead and target, and we're gonna measure to the Aarakocra. Really just trying to see what my options are going to be for breath weapon, which way I'm going to go. I'm going to go ahead and exhaust Sievart to do his second action, take a concentrate token. And you know what, actually I'm just now realizing that I missed the fact that I used Shrewd at the beginning of this turn to look at the Aarakocra's dial, see where they were going to end up, and I ended up just not changing Sievart's move at all. I feel like Shrewd is one of those things that's going to be, it's going to be clutch when it's clutch, but otherwise, I mean, you know, using it on the approach maybe is a little, is not really going to get as much out of it as you can. Right now I'm just looking at Pacatus's arc to try to see if I'm going to, yeah, I'm not going to have any good close quarters targets, so I'm just going to Dimension Door and try to get myself in a position where I can maybe get a better attack next turn. His arc was just lined up so with these elves so that it was, you know, he could have basically maybe bitten one of them or maybe fire breathed a couple of them, but they've got shield up, so they're getting 5 dice versus ranged. He's showing me some. Oh, that's right. In response to my action using Dimension Door, he's going to pop the elves reassemble upgrade, and he's going to move these elves in an incredibly annoying manner for me. So as you can see, these elves have just backed up well out of range of a serious flame breathing from Sievart, if that's what I had in mind, or, you know, whatever. This is a really good elf build, and I'm sort of a believer now. I may actually pick up the elves. Right now, I ended up deciding to try to sleep breath the elves and the ballista, who are both on the ground, instead of going for the Aarakocra, who are in the air. I spent all my tokens to get 3 hits on the roll against the elves. Incidentally, I was rolling 3 dice for each sleep breath roll, because I'm within 1 of the Orb of Devastation, give you an extra attack die. There's a lot to process in this game, what with these extra conditions. But as you can see, I put the ballista to sleep, did not successfully put the elves to sleep. It wasn't especially likely that I was going to put the elves to sleep, but sleep breathing the ground gave me at least the possibility of having 2 targets instead of just 1. So it's tough. It's tough to say. We're going to go ahead and cast Command on the Red Dragon with my Paladin. Pacatus, of course, didn't get an attack because he Dimension Doored, and now we're moving to the Elves, shooting at Sievart. And they're going to roll 3 hits, 2 eyeballs. The Harper special ability is actually going to let him convert 1 eyeball to a hit. So that's going to be Sievart's armor is going to take 2, and then 2 damage is going to get through on Sievart. Pretty powerful attack. Definitely a good showing from the elves. And I think we're going to, there's the damage. I think we're going to move on to the Aarakocra here. Attacking Sievart, of course. And looks like we got 3 hits. He's going to target and get another hit and a crit. That's going to be 2 hits and a crit on Seavart, or mirror imaged away, hitting a crit, so it's only 1 damage. Still not a comfortable place to be. That little thing is ticking up. It's now at 3 because I've been hit twice this turn, and it had 1 automatically from last turn. Now we're doing the Fire Breath from Balagos, I believe. 4 hits on the Ballista. That's a kill on the Ballista. And the Fire Breath roll on the Paladin is going to be... You're welcome. Okay. Was that a 1 crit? Yeah, 1 crit. And that would be subdued. And went to dials, and now we're moving on to round 3. So I gave Balagos a hard left. Exhausts him, but puts him in a place of... he's going to land, of course. Flip over command. It's basically done its job. Technically, it's still considered to be active until the end of this round, but it's done what it does. And of course, Balagos moved first because the Jeremy's Ballista is still asleep. So we'll move on to the Aarakocra. They are banking left. Seems like they might be just trying to clear out of the area of the dragons and pick off this Paladin. And there's their final position, and they will take a target token. Plenty of targets available. Orb is on 4 tokens, or whatever it's called. I think we rolled... kind of been cutting the orb rolls because they're usually happening with the dial phase. I think I remembered to leave in the one that mattered, though, for the record. Spoiler alert. See what these elves are doing. And he just tweaked the position of the elves a little bit. It looked like he was trying to stuff my movement, or trying to stuff me from getting a lot of elves in an arc. Just trying to guess where I might be and where he could be to avoid my attacks. Yeah, not too bad. And it looks like they're taking a dodge token is what that was. And my Paladin now is going to pursue the dragon, having commanded into this corner here. He has got a lot of gumption, I tell you what. I forgot to roll for something, maybe. Oh no, that was the roll for subdued to try to flip it face down. Didn't work. We're on to the gold dragon. Jeremy's moving that for me, and pretty much where I want to be. Gonna get close quarters attacks on 3 elves from this position. Unfortunately, Branding Smite is disabled, so it's not... I just haven't had time to get it back online and get it so I could get it cast this turn, so it's just not going to be as effective as it could be, but I believe I'm going to go ahead and take a concentrate token to hopefully maybe boost one of these attacks if it doesn't. It's got a lot of eyeballs. Then we're going to do Seavart, and he is just going to be flying over the Ballista to tail whip it while it's asleep is the plan. The Ballista doesn't have either of my dragons in arc, and it's too far away from the Paladin, so waking it up this turn is going to be okay. Clear the exhaustion on Seavart since he did a 1 maneuver. and put it right back on to do the usual target concentrate and swoop. Don't forget that. And swoop on the gold dragon too. Almost forgot about that. Thanks to Jeremy for cutting me a break there. Yeah, he cut me a couple of breaks in this game. My mind was not where it could be in this game, I think. Target, we got a blank. That means we got 4 hits. Going to wake the ballista up. His armor is going to absorb 1 hit. He's going to take 3. That leaves the ballista alive with 1 hit point left. I was really hoping to finish it off, but what are you going to do? To move on to Pocketus. Here's his bite. And we've got hit, eyeball, eyeball. So we'll concentrate, make that 3 hits. I think we're getting 3 defense dice on these elves. Yeah, there's 1. It's going to kill an elf. The dodge token won't save him because he's got no armor. So 1 hit would go through no matter what. Moving on to next attack. We've got it's like just 1 hit and no dodges is going to kill another elf. Then we've got, I think, 2 hits, no dodges again. Going to kill 3 elves. I think that dodge took, maybe the second claw was, the first claw was 2 hits. I got confused. Anyway, it's pulling 3 elves off the table. That's all I know. And I think we're going to do a morale check. He has to roll a morale check, and he has to roll to see if Limnan got killed. He's going to be okay, I believe. I went ahead and skipped those rolls. Nothing changed there. So Paladin rolling to hit the dragon. Looks like he's got a hit with his lance. There's a blank. He's going to put the crit with his lance. That is crippled. All hard turns are red. Not very effective on him, really. I mean, he might have 1 white hard turn. I don't know. In any case, elves are attacking. That we had a stray. Yeah, I did a 1 maneuver, so that exhaustion should be gone. Elves attacking gold dragon still have 5 dice because of the effect of Limnan, and it looks like they got 2 crits through on Pocketus. The crits are deep wound, and I think not debilitated, but one of the other ones that affects your primary weapon value. Probably a good idea to start showing the crits to the camera again. Sort of got out of that habit. And next we've got Balagos getting an extra die because he has a damage on him, but nothing. I think hit an eyeball and Paladin's armor is going to take that hit from Balagos' tail whip. So that leaves the Aarakocra. I'm going to measure the range there. I think that was 3, I believe. Yeah, I'm only rolling 1 defense die. Looks like 3 hits. Going to spin the target. Squeeze out 2 more hits. I forget why they're rolling 6. Nothing on my defense die, so that's going to be 3 damage for the kill on Thar there. Definitely the weakest link of the list, I think. So we'll move on to round 4. We've pipped the Orb of Devastation up another point. Ballista is going to be turning around. Getting in position to maybe attack one of these dragons. I really feel like I should have anticipated that move, but I didn't. Aarakocra also going to be turning around. And sort of doing a shortcut and skipping to everyone. Go ahead and skip to the elves move, and then he's gonna rearrange the Aarakocra once he moves all of his guys, it should be fine. So there's that, and the exhaustion token on the elves. And on the Aarakocra as well. And I'll go ahead and move Seavart while Jeremy is fiddling with those Aarakocra. Just going one forward. Hoping that I'll still... I was kind of hoping I'd still have the ballista within tail range. I'm going to measure. Yes, I do. Measure because I'm targeting, obviously. And for what... I think that's... Is it a swoop? Yeah, a swoop token there. Once I'm not giving Seavart an exhaustion token, it's not a real good place for it. Pocketus. He's bumped the ballista, so I'm going to think about whether I want to fly over. It's sort of playing with fire, but, well, there you go. And he is going to target and measure to the Aarakocra. This is not a great situation. He's got fire breath. Can maybe get one Aarakocra. It's hard to feel like that's worth it. I forgot to flip his deep wound, so I'm taking another hit. That's pretty grim. And Seavart's going to tail with the ballista. That should finish us off. This target token is just gravy. Ballista's dead. Let's see what the crit is. I believe stunned. That's a small mercy there. So no attack from that ballista this turn. He's just going to go ahead and take it off early. Pocketus is not going to have an attack. I'm measuring for the elves attack a little prematurely. And we're going to get Jay in here for some expert testimony as to whether the elves have this dragon in their arc. We concluded that they did not. Pocketus didn't attack. Pocketus could have fire breathed one Aarakocra, not worth it. He didn't attack. So we conclude the elves are out of arc, so the Aarakocra are attacking Pocketus. Looks like they've got hit, crit, so the crit is going through and it's debilitated. I think I just now realized that Pocketus' special ability could have flipped any of these crits without... So I didn't attack anyway. We're up to 7 dice on this this orb thing, so we're going to go ahead and do that. And there it goes. That is going to kill Pocketus. What a way to go. You may have noticed I only rolled 4 dice. Jeremy was going to roll 3 dice. The other 3 dice is some sort of Russian roulette code of honor thing. Anyway, I rolled 3 eyes on my dice, so we didn't need to see the other 3. My thing blew up. So it's killing 2 more elves. And it's going to end up killing, I believe, 2 Aarakocra. Not doing anything to Balagos. Maybe it put 1 hit on Seavart, would have put 2, but he's fire type. And if you're fire type, you take 1 less damage from this orb explosion because it's considered a fire explosion. So we'll go ahead and move on to round 5. As you can see, the 2 Aarakocra have been removed, and the 1 elf left is fine. I guess that must be Limnan himself because Limnan was not removed. There's where the Aarakocra end up. They'll take a charge token. One of their upgrade cards lets them make a ranged attack when they charge, so that's pretty good for them. Balagos going to move forward. He's still... Oh yeah, 2 forward is green for adult dragons generally. And Balagos will also charge, just getting a little extra distance to close the gap between them and Seavart, the lone brass dragon, racing towards the corner of the board, which is never a great idea when you're an ancient dragon. Elf doing a one bank, clearing stress. I believe he re-enabled shield, I think is what he did. I'm doing this curve, taking a dodge and landing. It's kind of a desperate situation here, but what can you do? Aarakocra are going to go ahead and execute their charge. There was no attacks from the Brass Dragon or the Elf, obviously. They're not quite within 4. It was super close, but that's not going to go. And we'll go ahead and execute Balagos' charge as well, move him forward a little. And we're going to go ahead and move on to round 6. With Seavard in a really horrible place with only basically 2 options, either pivot, lose an action, and take extra attack dice, or do a hard turn to get out of that corner and still take an exhaustion token, still lose his action. I'm a little confused what's going on here. We're just trying to do some logistics to get these characters maneuvered where they're supposed to be. Went ahead and skipped some of that fiddling around. They both targeted Seavart, and the elf, the lone elf, Limnan himself, is going to come in here. He's casting Shield again, and of course Seavart is pivoting. And we're going to use Flame Breath as our last gasp, so to speak. Get it? Because breath. Okay, moving on. I think I'm rolling against the Aarakocra first. Was that? Yeah, Aarakocra. I believe they dodged out of it. I think I had 2 hits and 2 eyeballs, and they dodged out of the hits. And I think I didn't actually have Balagos in that arc, so he wasn't attacked. That was Limnan shooting his bow at my dragon. No effect. Move on to the, believe the Aarakocra. Need an extra die from somewhere, targeting to pull up 3 hits. One of those hits will go through, leaving Seavart with 5 damage on him. And now Balagos is going to go ahead and Flame Breath. He's going to be rolling 7 dice because he's damaged and I've got to pivot. He's actually... he should actually only be rolling 6 dice because he doesn't get an extra die when he's damaged. He gets an extra die when he has more damage on him than the other creature. In any case, that didn't really matter that much. He had more than enough hits to kill Seavart, even with my auto dodge versus fire. And that was the game. It was, I think, a pretty ignoble performance for my team, but still very interesting to see the potential of troops. Of course, this scenario gave them some buffs, but with the new Veterans Upgrade card that you got as a participation prize for the scenario, you will be able to get some of those benefits going forward anytime you want to play a unique troop. And they've definitely got some interesting options that I haven't seen a lot of in action before, and I think I'm looking forward to seeing more troops in action. I might even pick up the elves. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the game, and I will see you next time. And I will continue to record the OP7 games, so we should be able to get a full tournament and then get back on track with maybe some, I think some adventures versus monsters, maybe some adventures versus elemental cultists when the final cultist comes out. We'll just see. And thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you later.